Hello, YouTube land. Today, I'm going to be showing everybody just how it is you take your old jack-o'-lanterns and you get them ready to make those delicious pumpkin pies and pumpkin bread and pumpkin cookies and everything else we love to eat in the fall. So stay tuned. Here we go.
Okay, so once you decide you want to turn your jack-o'-lantern into pumpkin pie, pumpkin bread, pumpkin cookies, and so on and so forth, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to obviously bring those little babies in from the cold. And once you've got them in, of course, you're going to want to reach in and take out the candles. And then ideally your pumpkin is going to be fairly clean on the inside without seeds and without a lot of the pulp. And once you do that, you're ready to start chopping it up. And basically with the chopping, you're just going to take a good sharp big knife and you're just going to start hacking away. And you're going to cut your pumpkin into chunks about size of your hand, maybe a little smaller, and that's going to depend on the size of the steaming pot that you have to use. Alright, now we have a sliced and diced up jack-o'-lantern, and so once you've got that done, then what you're ready to do is move on to the steaming or boiling. Okay, so the next step is you're going to need a large steaming pot or even just a regular pan to boil in. The smaller the pan and the smaller the pot, the more time it's going to take, but it's possible with just a regular saucepan as well. So I prefer to steam my fruits and vegetables as opposed to boiling, so I've got my steaming pot ready. I have my water boiling, and I've got my steamer basket in, and I'm going to just place in some pumpkin and arrange it so. And once you've got your pumpkin in here, you don't want to make it too tight. Just place your lid on, and you're going to steam for about 30 to 40 minutes. Once you're done with the steaming, or you'll know you're done when you take the lid off and just kind of stab it with a fork. If it's really soft, then you know you're done. The softer the better, and that's when you'll be ready to move on to the next stage. Alright, now my pumpkin's been steaming for about 30 minutes, so I'm going to take the lid off, and we're going to just take a little look here and see how, oh yeah, it's like really soft, and that's just how you want it. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to take our pumpkin, and we're going to just place it in a bowl here as it falls apart. Alright, so we have our pumpkin in a bowl, and generally what I'll do here is I'll just let this sit for 20-30 minutes as I start a second batch in the steamer, and let this stuff cool good, because you want it nice and cool as you start to peel off the skin. You don't want it hot to burn your fingers. So I'm going to let that cool and start a second batch. Okay, so your next step in this process is to take your pumpkin that you've given some time to cool, and depending on your mood and how you feel, you can just start to peel the skin off. You can also take, I know some people take a knife or a spoon and just kind of scrape the skin off, but if you've cooked it right, it's going to just pull right out. And then you're going to just plop it into your blender, and you'll keep doing that for all of these pieces. Depending on the size of your blender and how well your blender works, you may only want to do a couple of chunks at a time. But you're just going to go through and get them all peeled so that you can get them in the blender. Alternatively, you can also use just a standard manual potato masher. That actually works just as well as a blender does and saves on electricity. So if you want to just do it that way, that's just as good as a blender. Alright, okay, so now everything's in the blender, and you're going to just work on blender do what the blender does. And now you have some good mashed pumpkin. Losing track of my vegetables. Haha. Alright, so the last step that I'm going to cover with you today is going to be taking your delicious mashed pumpkin. What I do to freeze it is I just get good Ziploc or zip tie, whatever brand you want to use, the freezer bags. Make sure they're freezer bags because they work much better and you won't get freezer burn as bad. But I just take it and I'm going to pour in my pumpkin. And that's really all there is to it. The portion size that you want to freeze is really going to depend on your cooking habits and what your recipes call for. So before doing this, you might want to just kind of go through your own personal recipes and see how much pumpkin. Personally, most recipes that I use will call for about 2 cups. So what I do is this bag filled about halfway, that's about 1 cup. So I generally will do 1, if not 2 cups at a time per bag and stick them in the freezer, and then whenever you're ready you just defrost those suckers. And most recipes are going to call for your pumpkin pie, or pumpkin pies, pumpkin bread, whatever. It's going to call for a certain amount of canned pumpkin. Just do your best math and guesstimate what that's going to equal as far as what you've got here, and go from there. The canned stuff, other than having lots of preservatives and chemicals, really isn't going to have a whole lot else. Sometimes the canned stuff will have spices, but not usually. It'll just be the pumpkin, and it'll be a darker color, partly because of the chemicals, also because of the type of pumpkin used. But really, that's all you want to do is just put this stuff in your mix, and you've got fresh pumpkin pie, and it's a good conversation piece, especially if you have small children, because they're eating their jack-o'-lantern. So there you have it. There's your pumpkin. And thank you for spending some time with me. Have a great day, everybody. Happy holidays.